Welcome back to Agony of Positivity, the podcast hosted by myself, Ross,
and
Saul. His name is Saul.
I don't need to say it.
Yeah. It feels bad every time.
Ross did it for me.
I like that we've turned it into a competition to basically steal anything the other was going to say.
I'm going to get you.
Well, I have. I don't know if you. To me, it's competition at this point. It's cutthroat.
All week, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get him this time.
That's absolutely true. Like, I'm not even going to pretend that it's not. Like, that will be one of the things I think of.
So, I found out something really funny this week.
What's that?
So, on, I don't know, whatever day it was when I was going to work, I heard this radio station, and they were talking about how to make a country name for your country, if you're a country music star, right. Either for just for yourself or for your band, okay?
All right,
so they were talking about, so it was called the Country Music Name Generator.
Okay.
So what you do is...
I'm going to follow along here.
All right. So what is the name of your first pet?
Oh.
Okay. What is the first street, or what is the street that you were born on?
Roosevelt. This is a lot like the adult film name.
Oh, is it?
There's something somewhere, but anyway.
So Roosevelt?
I do not think I would... I'm going to start using that as my podcast name.
My name's Roosevelt.
So whenever shows follow this, and I randomly do that occasionally,
yeah,
this is the source of that for anyone you be in on the. It will never mention it again.
You know what? I think you probably could do a lot with Roosevelt.
No. Well, it's funny though because the dog's original name was Bumpetta. I'm not making this up. I wish I was. It'd be even better than I was that clever. But somehow it turned into and I think it was like my brother would always like point.
Yeah.
He couldn't talk yet.
Okay.
Was the dog, and it became the dog's name.
I like it.
But it was probably more like like trying to reach for the dog or get the dog,
Sure.
But yeah, so that became the name. And
I like it.
Pretty much anything that uses first pet's name is ruined for me because it just makes it ridiculous. Like if our first dog was like Henry Roosevelt.
Yeah,
it's a pretty solid name.
Sure. Mine is Whiskers Richmond.
It's a pretty strong name. So it's funny that you mentioned country music generator.
Yeah.
Well, more country music. So me and my wife, we attended I'll just say the name. I don't know why we're always so worried about. Eric Church had a show in St. Louis.
Okay.
Last night. So we drove forever.
Yeah.
Like, we are not in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Side note, did you know that from our location, St. Louis is to the west and not south? Now, I'm about to demonstrate to you how poor my geography is.
Okay.
In my mind, St. Louis was somewhere above Florida.
Yeah.
But not quite in Florida. I don't know where I thought it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't we have to go south for that? She was like, just stared at it because she assumed, like in her mind, I'm a fairly knowledgeable person about things. Little did she know how bad my geography skills are. But yeah, so it's pretty much straight to the west.
On a side note.
A side note to the side.
We have a mutual friend, who thought the Mississippi River was located somewhere near Seattle. So, I mean...
I think he's closer to accurate, though. Like, he knew it was to the west.
Sure.
I had no idea where St. Louis was. Turns out, like, we went to New Mexico quite a while back on a trip.
The recent trip?
We drove through St. Louis, and I don't remember it. I don't remember the arch.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything. I do remember there's like a giant cross on your way through one of the... Like, it's massive. It's almost as big as the... over in Monroe, Ohio, they have the Jesus statue.
Yeah.
The second version.
Okay. Yeah.
It's bigger than that.
Oh, okay.
But it's just a cross. So... probably perceived differently, I suppose.
Sure.
I'll try to be nice and hold my opinions of statues out of that.
Sure.
But yeah, so we go down there and like we kept thinking about turning back.
Yeah.
But it's funny because on here where we talked about like the whole high school thing, like being a character of antisocial, anti whatever.
Sure.
I started to wonder, have I made myself antisocial or not like doing certain things because I think I shouldn't? So I was more determined to go to this show because I'm not a country music fan. Like, there's a few songs here and there. I mean, who doesn't love Achy Breaky Heart? I mean, it was on the radio so much. I listened to it thousands of times. I had to like that song.
Sure.
But yeah, so it was like, we're going to go. Like, even though we could turn back due to weather a couple times, it's like, we're just going to go there. So we get there, and we had bought, my wife had bought pretty cheap seats. We were like 3 rows from the roof, and which was fine because we had the thought we might have to turn back for weather. And they have like the fan page app or whatever. I don't understand how that stuff works. But like you can check in, and it was like, I guess you put, hey, we drove from our state all the way down here. So like the show's getting real close to starting, and like these people walk up to us and they're like, hey, are you so and so? Like, yeah. And they're like, hey, here, have these. We want to thank you for coming all the way to this show. And they were pit tickets. Oh, okay. So we went from the roof to like in the pit area, which is basically like right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Like, it made the trip much better.
Yeah.
And like, I like Eric Church. He's very passionate when he sings. Like, I can tell you're getting everything he has in the show. Like, even the bands I like, when I used to go see them, they were making their money.
And he kind of sounds like a country star. Most country stars today, they sound very popish.
He is... How was it my wife put it? His definition of country has gotten looser and looser with each album.
Sure.
But I still, I like the sound.
Yeah.
I like more... I was more impressed by the effort he puts into it and, like, what you're getting out of him.
Sure. Yeah.
It made me pay more attention to it. And, like, so I've bought, like, an album or two and have it on my phone, which is unusual. I think James Dean or Jimmy Dean has the I Miss Billy the Kid song. Not the sausage guy, but whatever the older country.
No, my mind is going to be the sausage guy.
Yes, just making sausage and singing about when he was a little kid on his big wheel.
Yes.
Yeah, but so I don't know. Like, that was a excellent experience that normally I would not have had because I would have been like, that's a lot of work for a concert. I don't want to be awake for 24 hours straight and then record a podcast after and suffer through, but I feel pretty rested. Yeah. It's also brought to us by Energy Drink Company.
Yeah. So you you really enjoyed it?
Had a blast.
Yeah.
Could have done without the drive home.
Sure.
Because it was that I'm real close to tired enough to where I shouldn't be driving, but I can still drive, but you're worried. And like the worry is what actually keeps you awake.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, it was awesome. And then one thing I had thought about during that is like I've seen the people who get like the upgraded seats before, and similar to the person speeding on the road, where I'm like, oh, that's not fair, or what do they think they're doing? Well, all it was is that my wife created a thing where she was just like, hey, yeah, we came, like just being like, this is the thing we did.
Yeah,
wasn't expecting anything out of it.
Yeah,
and then it just happened.
Yeah,
so kind of changed my because like it's not like we were special, but they were. Whatever the fan group, like, I don't understand how it works. The fan group or whatever was like, hey, we appreciate that you're willing to make an effort.
Yeah.
Here you go. So the times I've seen that stuff happen, that person probably made more of an effort than me. Like, if I'm sitting in like a local show, and someone drives like 7 hours, they probably, you know what, it's all right for them to get an upgrade. So. Sure.
You know what? And it's funny when you said like you were going to St. Louis because I was thinking, man, that's gonna be hectic because of the Super Bowl. But then I realized it's been a while since I've watched football. Right. St. Louis is no longer.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted St. Louis and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Is that right? I haven't watched football this year. I have not watched football.
Yeah.
I don't remember AFC and NFC.
No, you're right. Yeah, it would be the LA Rams versus the the Chiefs. Yeah,
It's also weird that the Rams just go back and forth.
it's true.
Why can't I get the Giants to move closer? I mean, that'll never happen. But.
Sure. Well, you know what? Speaking of which, this is a great segue here.
Okay.
Breaking news coming your way.
It's our first official use of a bumper for real.
Yes. So
and now we've ruined it.
So we're going to try a new thing here where we just talk about just a news article that amuses us. We don't know if we're going to be doing it all the time, but this might be the last time doing it.
We'll do it at least.
But so, and it's someone that I don't really like myself. But I'm
understatement.
So it's about this 10-year-old boy who I guess doesn't really like Tom Brady a lot. So he wanted to do a science fair project to prove that Tom Brady is a cheater. Okay?
All right. So now, I don't really know what this story is. The only thing I heard is Tom Brady doesn't deserve money. So I assume that's just a cherry-picked thing that's very out of context to the rest of this.
Well, as I'm reading the story here, Davis, the boy, I guess, who made the science fair project, he's like, I hate Tom Brady. He has been accused of cheating before. I want him to be caught, and I think I found a way to basically
to catch him.
To catch him, I guess. So he goes through this elaborate thing where he makes like this board.
Is Tom Brady a cheater? They have a very strange picture of Tom Brady with both hands in front of his face.
Yes. And it's like he does a graph where I guess he actually got inflated footballs and he was throwing it for accuracy and everything.
Okay.
Which, I mean, he's not a quarterback, so I don't know. I don't know how.
I'm not going to tear down like the small child for.
Sure. But in any case.
If he's doing it in any method, he is better at throwing a football than I am. I have very small hands.
Well, I mean, so in any case, he goes throughout. He has a graph of like the inflated footballs and stuff like that, and he actually won the science fair with this project. Apparently, of how much he dislikes.
Where is this school? Out of curiosity, is this in like Miami?
It's in Kentucky.
Buffalo?
It's in Kentucky, actually.
I was thinking, same division,
It's in Kentucky, so. Anyway, so he does this thing about how much he despises Tom Brady. But you know what? He's not the only one. There's a lot of people who despise.
I don't know if you despise Tom Brady.
I mean, I don't lie awake at night like he's my arch.
Right. But at the same time, it's when we were both very into football. I remember like, hey, Saul, did you see that? I'd be like, yeah, he got lucky. And it would... Like, whatever he did was basically luck, or I guess it was okay. And it could be the most, like, no credit. Like, the guy could have saved you from a house.
Yes.
You would have been like, he didn't save my carpet. What am I supposed to do about that?
Sure. So,
he could have been the dude with the wheelbarrow full of money. But you would have been like, he expects me to pick this up off the ground.
Or, he gives me like $10,000.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you
could have gave me $20,000. You only gave me 10. Yeah. But, so why do you think, as a society, we hate successful people?
In this case, and I mean, there's definitely enough shady stuff that goes around with New England.
Sure.
I mean, Eli Manning never had a problem with it in the Super Bowl, is all I'm going to say. Like, they seem to do just fine. So I don't know why all these other people have complaints. But, so with that, it's like, if you see someone get something and you feel they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And you're like, nothing like that ever happens to me and I feel I deserve things.
Sure.
I feel like I have a decent point here.
Yeah.
And I'm just making it up, but we'll go along with it. You're going to have a more strong opinion. So, American football players get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
For playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, they make a lot of money for the owners. That's how that whole thing works.
Sure.
If I could go flip burgers and people would pay hundreds of dollars to come see me flip burgers, I'd probably be making a lot of money flipping burgers.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we don't value culinary skills quite the same as throwing things or punching things.
Did you see Ross over there at McDonald's today? He really knew how to flip that hamburger.
Me and a friend of mine, we both worked at a roast beef restaurant.
Yeah.
and we had this dream
Yeah.
where restaurant employees, servers, fast food, were treated like sports people, where it was like
Sure.
store managers would scout other stores
Yeah.
or like lower level restaurant and like make trades and
Yeah.
offer, be like, that guy's awesome. He
Yeah.
always shows up. He's a hard. We need him on our team.
Yeah.
And there'd be like bidding wars and like
Sure.
that'll never happen. But if I were to open a restaurant of my own because I
Yeah.
won the lottery,
Mhm.
I would go and poach from restaurants. I would find the best people I could get and try my best to create that.
Well, it's funny because like a lot of people. I mean, it's just not Tom Brady. It's like you said, anybody that has success in their life, like Hollywood stars
Right.
or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I actually have something
Go ahead,
recently
yeah.
that I saw.
Yeah.
So I want to say it was Bezos, or I don't know how his name's pronounced. I've actually never heard the Amazon guy.
Yeah, the Amazon.
I've never heard anyone say his name somehow.
Yes.
Or I've never paid attention.
No, that is very true. I've only like read it in
Yeah,
newspaper.
so in my mind it's like Bezos.
Let's go with
And,
that.
If it's wrong,
You know, if you're listening,
yeah, I get
Bezos, correct us.
it. Yeah, I get it. Prove me. Yeah, but yeah, something like 0.009% is like what he donates.
Okay.
Or 0.0009. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Someone broke it down to where if you had a job making $25 an hour,
Okay.
and you donated like $40 to something,
Yeah.
percentage-wise, you are donating more than he has.
Okay.
And, like, to kind of make a point that what he's doing really isn't a big deal. And I would agree on maybe a moral level, let's say, that yes, the person who's giving the $40, like, that is worth more. Like,
Yeah.
just as a gesture, it definitely has more value.
Yes.
Now, imagine you're in a situation where you have a massive medical bill. You've had cancer and double cancer and something else.
Yeah.
Triple cancer. Like, you just have more bills than ever.
Just cancer.
I come up to you with $40,
Yeah.
or Jeff Bezos comes to you with $1 million.
Yes.
At that moment in time,
Yeah.
which is worth more to you? My sacrifice
Sure.
or his nothing that solves your problem?
Yeah.
So not to say that there's not, like, it's absolutely true. You see a lot of like celebrities or businesses make these donations, and it's like, yeah, I know that's nothing to them.
Yeah.
But $500,000 is still a lot of money.
Yeah.
That they don't have to. I mean, and again, they get tax. There's a system to it.
Yeah.
But if you just look at the reality of it, and it's painful in a way, because you'd like to think that the person giving you more, like to them, should have more value. Unfortunately, when it comes to money, that's not really how it works, and it sucks in a way.
Well, but I mean, and this is what I hate with society as a whole. I mean, they don't. I mean, whether you be the guy giving $40,
Right?
or you're the guy that gives $1 million, you don't have to give it away.
Right.
You are voluntarily giving something
Right.
that the other person don't have.
Yeah. Or group, or wherever you're giving.
But as a society, we're like, well, you should be giving me more. Well, actually, I don't have to give you anything.
Right.
You know.
Well, and I think some of it too, though, is you'll see companies are pretty notorious in a way for doing this, where it's like, we gave away $10,000,
Yeah.
and they try to make a big deal out of it.
Sure.
And at that point,
Well, yeah. Now.
yeah, you're going to get called out.
Sure.
Now,
Sure.
The like if Acme will just make up a company.
Sure.
Like they're like, oh, we're going to give $10,000, and they're like $1 billion company.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. However, if you're that group or that person that's having that 10,000, do you really care that that's nothing to them?
Well, like for example, like the place that we used to work at.
Yeah.
They were doing like,
oh Lord,
like employees, like employees donate money, and they would double what we gave. So I think they said at the end of the year or whatever the time frame was, they donated $128 to this charity.
yes,
And this company we work for was a multi.
billion, yeah.
They're rich. I'd be embarrassed to write that check out for $128.
Yes.
Like, here you go, we doubled that.
Yeah, well, it also says something that if your employees either don't feel the need to or can't, maybe
Sure.
there's another issue there.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's some of it is like companies want to make a trivial thing and try to make it the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
Who was it? There was like a water company that did something and like it cost more for they spent more, or I think it was like a Super Bowl ad or something.
Okay.
They spent more on the advertisement
Yeah.
than what they actually gave. Might
Sure.
not have been, but I know there was something like the advertisement for whatever they were promoting cost more than what they did.
Sure.
So when you see that, I'm even thinking this way, I'm still going to be like, oh, come on. Like, I'm still going to criticize that.
Sure.
But yeah, absolutely. It's, they don't have to. There's incentive for them to do it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like, if you just look at pure numbers to it,
Yeah.
it might be more helpful than what you're doing.
Sure.
And it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how do you, like, someone has a problem and you're like, I'm going to give them everything I have because this is the worst thing ever.
Okay.
And, like, say I have like $5,000 in the bank and that's it. But I'm like, Solomon, here's $5,000 to try to help you with your double, triple cancer.
Sure.
And I'm essentially broke as a result, but I value a human so
Well-
much that I'm willing to, and then like, but Jeff B is like, oh, I covered it. You can give that money back to Raw. And it's like, oh, my greatest effort was
Sure.
nothing.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
that doesn't feel good.
No, but I think you need to. I think when you're giving charity out, I think it's responsible for you as a person giving the charity to give something that is needed. Like,
Yes.
if it's the middle of summer, 90 degrees out, and I give you a winter coat, but here you go. I mean,
Well, you just
yeah,
want me
sure, I'm giving you a winter coat.
Well, when I get heat stroke and I think I'm cold,
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, don't recognize the need.
oh yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I mean, I basically forced myself into the super mega capitalist side of this,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I have to go with it,
Sure.
whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah,
but I'm now on that side of the fence.
Sure.
I'm Wilson. You can't see all of my face.
Yes.
People will remember seeing your face, but not really.
Yes.
It never happened.
Yes.
The
Anyway, so that was the.
so, but what was the? Now, I have a separate question here,
All right, go ahead.
and I'm going to tread lightly on this because we can very easily get carried away. But so, do you think this younger child
Yeah.
really hates Tom Brady,
Yeah.
or is his family like Dolphins fans?
You think he's like influenced by friends and family?
I'm just curious
Um,
because I had opinions when I was little that I didn't really hold.
I mean,
Like when I look back, I'm like, everyone else thought this. It kind of goes with like almost online culture in a way.
well, I remember as a kid that one of my favorite football teams was crushed by the 49ers, which in the 80s, I mean, that's pretty much.
That happened to me. That's why I like the Giants.
I mean, I really hated them, the 49ers, but I don't know why now. I mean,
No, you can still hate them. It's okay. I still do.
But Jerry Rice is a really awesome wide receiver. You know,
Yeah.
he's like one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, Joe Montana's awesome too.
Sure,
He wasn't as good as Leonard Marshall on that one play.
sure.
Which I do feel bad that like younger me was
Yeah.
like, eat it, Joe Montana. Like you've just been injured seriously.
Sure.
And at that age, I didn't really understand what I was celebrating.
Yes.
Like I was just like, oh yeah, he's out of the game. Not, oh man, this is
Sure.
like
Well,
I kind
yeah.
of feel bad about that part.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much this kid actually hates Tom Brady.
Right.
You know?
Well, do we have a responsibility as an adult to try not to influence stuff like that?
Well, I think you need to let like the younger generation, especially when you're watching with kids.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we don't want people like permanently scarred. This is a game.
Right.
At the end of the day, this is a game. And hatred is a very strong word. So
Yeah, very strong.
Maybe
emotion.
just we need to tell the younger generation. Well, and you know what? And I've actually seen people say this now. Oh, I hope blah 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 breaks his leg this weekend. Well,
That's harsh.
these are human beings.
Yes. Well, that's when I was little. I was excited Joe Montana was hurt.
Sure.
But
So-
older, it's like I'm glad. I mean, it was good that he was out of the game.
Yes.
But it's unfortunate that that was like a pretty serious injury, and I just didn't get it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think we need to. These are not like movie characters or video game characters. These are real human beings. I think you just need that.
Yeah. No, because I could see if I had a child
Yeah.
and we were watching football and the Giants, it'd be like, emotion could get the better of me.
Yeah.
I'm really not a fan of the Eagles because they have had the Giants numbers
Okay.
in some of the most embarrassing ways
Yeah.
humanly possible.
Yeah.
Like, there's part of me that if a meteorite destroyed their field, I'd be
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Not necessarily them, but they just have to build a new stadium and they can't be home team for a while.
Okay. Sure.
Where it's like, oh yeah, we root against them because of this. We need them to lose so we can do better. But then, how quickly it's like, we hate the Eagles. Because
Sure.
we do hate the Eagles. But,
For example, with the Eagles, what I do is, I don't hate the Eagles, but if I did hate the Eagles, I kind of generate the mascot in my head, so all the players have the mascot's head.
so you're not actually...
Yeah, so it kind of just,
Alright.
it kind of makes I'm rooting against the mascot.
So do you think this applies, though, more widely? Where you don't like something, trying to... when I had my vendetta against Oreo,
Yeah.
I tried to influence people with that story. Like they think you're an idiot.
Sure.
They make cookies and cream flavored Oreo. That's just Oreo flavored Oreo.
Yeah.
I want other people to come to my way of thinking. Also, not a healthy thing.
Sure. Sure. Well,
What I'm basically I'm creating a narrative.
Well, as I don't know if we've talked about it on this podcast, but I know you and me have talked about it in public or in private or whatever. Yeah. Like when you hate something with a passion, and you describe it with the passion to someone that doesn't really care one way or the other,
yeah,
you sound like a nutcase.
Yes.
And you are like the you're the bad guy in the story.
Yes. Yeah, you're no longer on the side of good. You're the lunatic or the heretic.
You're the Joker, and you're like, what? Why do you have so much passion against whatever? So, yeah.
Yeah, but so we should probably think when we're telling, are we trying to... Do we want them to agree with us, or are we trying to convince them that they think the same? I mean, there is a line.
Yeah, I think that's why we tell that's why we tell stories to people, because we want them to be on our side, so we don't seem like we're madmen,
jerks, potentially.
Yes, Ross agrees with my hatred against whatever.
This might make us go a little bit long, but so. I mean, we talk about video games a lot.
Yeah.
I watch some of the more competitive games.
Okay.
I'm going to use Hearthstone because I think there's a good chance if you have a phone, you might have played Hearthstone, or you might be familiar with what it is if you're listening to this. Yeah. And if not, any competitive video type game, or it could even really go to chess.
Mm-hmm.
So if a pro or the high level players for Hearthstone are like, this card or this technique, like in chess, if it was Scholar's Mate, the move where you move a couple moves and the game's over.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden they're like, this is the best thing ever, or this is trash, people at a super low level agree with that.
Yeah.
Imagine if at one time Aroldis Chapman was, if all of a sudden he's throwing the ball really fast is garbage. How many high school kids would be like, yeah, he's right, just because a high level player. I know he's not the greatest pitcher, but I'm reaching for something.
Exactly. Sure. Yeah.
So a pro level or an expert, says something's garbage, and it's so it filters down to where that entire community of people, it's oh, this is garbage.
Yeah.
But that's not true. At high school, if you can throw like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball,
Sure.
I'm going to assume you're going to do pretty good with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what average high schooler speeds at. Like, I don't follow baseball well enough, but that seems like a better jump than Hearthstone or something.
Well,
but
yeah,
it's always weird to me when it's like, oh yeah, this is trash. It's like, yeah, if you're like the best in the world, that's trash.
Yeah.
Like, maybe like a sweep in football is not that good, but if you at high school, if you're like the fastest dude on the field, it'll be okay. Like,
well, I think human beings need villains.
yeah,
Because I think, for example, I mean, we'll use Tom Brady and the Patriots.
of course you would.
No, I mean, but I mean, if you don't like Tom Brady and the Patriots, and you're watching the Super Bowl, and you don't really care one way or the other, whatever team's playing,
Yeah, you're
it
rooting
gives
against.
you something to root against. So it makes it more exciting because, like, I don't know, like if you have, like, for example, the St. Louis Rams, I don't know anything about the team. I
Right.
could care less about the team, to be honest with you. And if you had like the Dolphins in there,
Yeah.
I would not care who played that game
Yeah,
at
you're
all.
gonna look for a reason to root.
I mean, so you need a villain to make the story more
Yeah.
exciting. So you think that's why we create villains to make things?
I don't know.
more-
Is that? It's an interesting question. Is that human nature, or have we created that for ourselves? Like, do you think? Let's go like caveman's origin.
Yeah.
Do you think Grog was sitting there like, Och over there? I don't like him
Sure.
for whatever reason, his hair or something.
Yeah.
Because I could imagine that it would like. We've always just not liked things.
Sure.
Like we've proven on this, it is way easier to talk about stuff we like than
Yeah.
talk about the positive part.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we're basically trying to condition ourselves to be positive with this, and it's still way like
it
I
gets
feel
us
I've come a
something-
long way,
Yeah.
and I can still rant about a boiled egg for 10 minutes.
Well, I think it gives us something to kind of to try to like rise above. Like for example, the caveman.
Right.
So like surviving
Or like David Goliath kind of situation.
David Goliath, whatever. It gives us something to like. If I beat this Goliath, hey, I'm pretty good.
Or if this other guy beats him,
Yeah.
I want this other guy to beat. You're basically cheering the underdog.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, we all love. I don't know if all of us, but I enjoy like an underdog story, like
Sure.
Rocky IV.
Yeah.
If you don't like Rocky IV, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, there's people who probably don't. Like, there's probably people who feel the same. I'm the villain who doesn't like Goonies.
You know what? I don't like Goonies either. I don't know.
That's
the-
why we're friends.
I,
Clearly.
I don't know why. Anyway, that means I'm trying to.
Yeah, we're.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right. So we have another subject that we were going to do.
You know what?
But do we want to save that because we're starting to go long?
I think we'll just save it.
All right.
And
I do
we'll-
want to talk about something that a lot of people may not care about. This tonight is the Royal Rumble.
All right.
Do you have any thoughts or predictions on the Royal Rumble? And if you're
It's
pro wrestling, so if you have no idea what we're talking about, that's okay. That's why this is at the very end.
That's why you just turn it off now. It's too late. We already got your download. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if people download and never listen,
yes.
I mean, it would kind of hurt to find out, but it's still okay because that's still support
Yes.
in any way.
Yes. Yeah, we do support. We do appreciate you guys that have been downloading it and everything.
Yeah.
Keep
Numbers
it up.
have actually grown. I can't try to pinpoint like, oh, it's all the numbers are getting better somehow.
Sure.
I mean, we care.
They love your beautiful voice.
That's okay. I mean, whatever.
I don't know. So who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble?
Or any surprise people. You think Kenny Omega's going to show up?
No, because he's under contract with New Japan.
Oh yeah, because that's till the end of the month, right?
Yep.
They could make a deal.
The Young Bucks actually, I guess, kind of squashed that. They was kind of sarcastic.
Pointed out like
They're like, yes, he's going to jeopardize
I actually knew that, but
his contract.
I mean, for enough money, if this man was like, "I'll give you $1 billion,"
Oh, I'm sure they'll be like, oh, sure. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I guess. See, I want to say Braun Strowman, but I don't think they really want him now.
I don't know if he's cleared.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'm going to say Rusev.
Rusev? I don't think he's in it. He has the pre-show match against Nakamura for the U.S. title.
You know what? Kevin Nash. He's going
to show up.
Win it all.
Stranger Things. Yeah, I don't really know who's going to win this year. Because I don't think I'd like to see the Miz somehow in it and win.
But isn't he in a match too?
Him and Shane have the tag title match, but he could end up being in it. I'd like to see face Miz versus heel Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
If they put the effort in to do it right,
yeah,
like Miz and Shane stay friends.
Yeah,
like they actually Miz has actually had like a change of heart and isn't a dirtbag.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that story told.
Sure,
it'd be amazing.
Yeah,
he's improved. He deserves something good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think there's going to be like any surprise people though.
I don't think because it seems like they're all
Santino Marella. That Santino is going to show up.
There you go.
And I'll just be disgusted.
But I like to see. I don't know. All the wrestlers that I used to like are either retired because their bodies are broken down or dead.
It's almost like intentionally throwing yourself into things over and over is not conducive for a long life or career.
Well, I have a quote to end this out here.
I'd like to point out that we now are sitting here staring at a stack of 47 quote books.
I'm like addicted to that. I go to like bookstores and buy quote books. So this is from Harry.
This podcast has helped the publishing industry.
You know
indirectly.
What? It has.
There you go.
So this is from Harry S. Truman. Okay. Never kick a fresh turd on a hot day.
What? That is obviously excellent advice.
Yes.
My question is, what was going on? Like, was that when he was president?
It doesn't say.
Because I would love to know, like, just thinking of, like, recent, like, Bush, Clinton, Obama, Trump even.
Yeah.
I would love for that to be said now and just watch the explosion that happens. I mean, people had a problem with Obama putting Dijon mustard on a sandwich.
Just random, right there by a press secretary right there or whatever. You know what? Never kick a fresh turd on a hot day.
Like, all right. If I was ever president, I would probably do stuff like that. Although my quote, if I ever start doing quotes, but you've taken ownership of this, is the Jack Handy. Are you familiar with those, like deep thoughts?
Yes.
I would use those every time.
Sure.
And people would be like, that doesn't make any sense. And I would just be laughing. Because I can read that book and laugh at every quote in it.
Sure.
And read it again, like, immediately. And I would laugh the second time because they're hilarious to me. All right, if you've made it this far,
yes,
you probably already know this, but we have the Twitter and the Gmail, Agony of Positivity, gmail.com, at the AOP Podcast. No one has followed our Twitter yet.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
But it has been practice for me to use social media. I sometimes put pictures up there.
To be fair, I don't use Twitter at all. So.
Well, I mean, I haven't followed it with my own personal account.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more entertained by it just being zero and me posting, like, the episodes up.
Yes.
Like, if you found this and you've subscribed, you don't need, like, because I did it because all podcasts do it.
Yes.
There is no, like, I don't use it like, hey, look at this picture of my dog.
Sure.
I probably, you know what? We're going to do an experiment. I'm going to start posting pictures of animals.
Yes.
And tagging it. And we will have followers by the next week. I almost guarantee it.
All right, let's see.
And I'll be like, I don't know what this account is, but those dogs are adorable.
So the account is 0 right now, right?
We are at 0 everything.
Okay.
Like, we have one retweet because I hashtagged bacon one day. Just because I was like, I don't know, let's just put a hashtag. Like, I didn't really understand how hashtags worked.
Sure.
Like, Twitter is not my thing. I like to follow people and get updated. But I was just like, bacon, and it like retweeted it to, but like nothing came of it. So we're gonna make sure to talk about bacon one day.
Have you checked our MySpace page any?
No, I honestly forgot all about it. Much like MySpace in general, I forgot all about it. I do see the email occasionally at the podcast email.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really need to. No, I don't. Like,
Sure.
now, not to say if we were to like overnight become way more popular,
Yes.
I could see myself investing some time into it.
Sure.
It's just funny to me that we even have it.
Yes.
And when it was hard to get the Macho Man rap about Hulk Hogan being a punk, you could put it on. Like, honestly, that was that moment where it was like, I've kind of lost. Like,
Sure.
I think I more just wanted to have that out there for people than the MySpace page. Honestly,
Sure. Sure.
it's sad. Like, I have probably the mind of a juvenile.
And on that note.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody. If you've made it this long, reevaluate your life. Jeez, oh Pete.
Have a good week.